Book of Heaven, Volume 14. 1st to the 13th of March, 1922. Page 12 to 20. March 1, 1922. Jesus is chained by the soul who does his will, and the soul by him. I was very afflicted because of the privation of my sweet Jesus. Then, after much hardship, he came, and from his wounds he made his blood flow over my breast and around my neck. As those drops of blood fell upon me, many brightest rubies were formed, which formed the most beautiful ornament. Jesus looked at me and told me, "My daughter, how well does the necklace of my blood suit you, how it embellishes you. Look, you yourself, look how beautiful it makes you appear." And I, a little huffy because he had made me wait for so long before coming, told him, "My love and my life, oh, how I would love one of your arms clasped around my neck as necklace. This, yes, would delight me, because I would feel life and I would cling to it so tightly that I would let you escape no more. Your things are beautiful, it is true, but as you detach them from yourself, I do not find you, I do not find the life. And in spite of your things, my heart raves, agonizes, bleeds with pain, because you are not with me. Ah! If you knew in what torture you put me when you do not come, you would be very careful not to keep me waiting for so long." And Jesus, all moved, surrounded my neck with his arm, and taking my hand in his, added, I know how much you suffer. And to make you content, here is my arm around your neck as necklace. Aren't you happy now? Know that I cannot do without making content one who does my will, because as she breathes, she forms the air of my volition around me, in such a way that she not only surrounds my neck, but my whole life. I remain as though chained and hampered by the soul within the very strength of my will. But this is far from displeasing to me. On the contrary, because of the great contentment I feel, I hamper and chain her. If you cannot be without me, it is because of my chains, my shackles, which hold you so tightly that one moment without me is enough to give you a martyrdom of the most painful. There is nothing that equals it. Poor daughter, you are right. I will take everything into account, but I do not leave you. Rather, I enclose myself in you in order to enjoy the air of my volition, which you yourself form for me. In fact, the air of my will is your heartbeat, your thought, your desire, your motion, and in this air I will find my support, my defense, and the most beautiful rest upon your breast. March 3, 1922. The celestial farmer sows his word. Continuing in my usual state, my sweet Jesus came, but without saying anything, all taciturn and afflicted to the summit. And I, what is it, Jesus, that you don't speak? If you are my life, your word is my food, and I cannot fast. I am very weak, and I feel the continuous necessity of food in order to grow and maintain myself strong. And Jesus, all goodness, told me, "My daughter, I too feel the necessity of some food, and after I have nourished you with my word, that same word, chewed by you, being converted into blood, makes food for me germinate. And if you cannot fast, neither do I want to fast. I want the return of the food that I gave you, and then I will come back again to nourish you. I feel very hungry, hurry, let me satisfy my hunger." I remained confused, and I didn't know what to give him, since I have never had anything. But Jesus, with both hands, took my heartbeat, my breath, my thoughts, affections and desires, which had turned into many little globes of light, and ate them, saying, "This is the fruit of my word. These are my own things. It is just that I eat them." Then he seemed to take a little rest, and afterwards he added, "My daughter, now it is appropriate that I get down to work again, to work the soil of your soul, so as to be able to sow the seed of my word with which to feed you. I act like a farmer when he wants to sow in his field. He forms little trenches, makes the furrows, and casts the seeds into them. Then he again covers with earth the little trenches and furrows in which he has sown the seeds, so as to keep them sheltered and give them the time to germinate, to then harvest them increased 100-fold, and make of them his food. But he is careful not to put in too much earth, otherwise he would cause his seeds to suffocate and die under the earth, and he would run the risk of remaining on an empty stomach. Now, so I do, I prepare the little trenches, I form the furrows, I enlarge the capacity of her intelligence to be able to sow my divine word, and therefore form the food for me and for her. Then I cover the little trenches and the furrows with earth, which is humility, nothingness, the annihilation of the soul, and some little weakness or misery of hers. This is the earth, and it is necessary that I take it from her because I lack this earth. And so I cover everything and I wait for my harvest with joy. Now, do you want to know when too much earth is placed over the seed? When the soul feels her miseries, her weaknesses, her nothingness, and she afflicts herself. She thinks about it so much as to waste time, and the enemy uses this in order to throw her into disturbance, discouragement and despondency. All this is earth in excess over my seed. Oh, how my seed feels like dying! How it struggles to germinate under this earth. Many times these souls tire the celestial farmer, and he withdraws. Oh, how many are the souls like these? And I, my love, am I one of these? And he, no, no, one who does my will is not subject to forming earth that suffocates my seed. Rather, many times I find not even humility in her, but only her nothingness, which produces little earth, so I can place just one layer over my seed. And the son of my will soon fecundates it, and it germinates, and I make great harvests, to then quickly return to sow my seed again. Besides, you can be sure of this, don't you see how often I return to sow new seeds of truths into your soul? Now, as he was saying this, sadness appeared on the face of Jesus. Taking me by the hand, he carried me outside of myself and showed me deputies and ministers, all distraught, as if they had prepared a big fire, and were wrapped in its flames themselves. One could see sectarian leaders who, tired of waiting before railing against the church, wanted either to be left free to wage bloody wars against it, or to withdraw from the government. They felt the ground missing under their feet because of financing as well as other things. And in order not to make a bad impression, they wanted to withdraw from holding the lot of the nation. But who can say everything? Jesus, all sorrowful, said, "Terrible, terrible is the preparation." They want to do things without me, and everything will serve to confuse them. March 7, 1922. The words of Jesus are full of truth and of light, and they carry with them the virtue of transforming the soul into truth itself, into light itself, and into the very good which they contain. I was thinking about what has been written, and I said to myself, is it really Jesus that speaks to me, or is it a trick of the enemy and of my fantasy? And Jesus, on coming, told me, "My daughter, my words are full of truth and of light, and they carry with them the virtue of transforming the soul into truth itself, into light itself, and into the very good which they contain, in such a way that the soul does not only know the truth, but she feels within her the substance of operating according to the truth which she has known. Further, my truths are full of beauty and attraction, in such a way that the soul, taken by their beauty, lets herself be enraptured by them. In me, everything is order, harmony, and beauty. See, I created the heavens. They alone could have been enough. But no, I wanted to adorn them with stars, almost studding them with beauty, so that the human eye might enjoy more from the works of its creator. I created the earth, and I adorned it with many plants and flowers. I created nothing which did not have its own ornament. And if this is in the order of created things, much more so in my truths, which reside within my divinity. While it seems that they reach the soul, they are like solar rays, which hit and warm the earth without ever departing from the center of the sun. And the soul remains so enamored with my truths, that she finds it almost impossible not to put into practice the truths she has known, even at the cost of her life. On the other hand, when it is the enemy or the speculation of fantasy that want to speak about truths, they bring neither light, nor substance, nor beauty, nor attraction. They are empty truths, without life, and the soul does not feel the grace to sacrifice herself to put them into practice. Therefore, the truths that your Jesus tells you are full of life and of all that my truths contain. Why do you doubt? March 10, 1922. Universal effects produced by the acts done in the divine will. One who lives in the divine will, is queen of all. I was doing the hours of the Passion and, according to my usual way, I was pouring myself into the holy will of God, offering them for the good of all. But my will, as though wanting to appropriate them, very often would say, "My Jesus," in a special way for help, relief and liberation of this soul. And my sweet Jesus, reprimanding me, told me, "My daughter, everything that one does in my will is like sun that diffuses to all. And as one prays in my will, offering my blood, my pains, my wounds, these convert into as many rays of light which diffuse to all. They descend rapidly into the deepest prison of purgatory and turn their pains and darkness into light. Therefore, it can be the same for everyone. And if there may be a difference, it can never be on the part of the one who gives, but of those who receive, according to the dispositions of each one. It happens as to the sun, which gives light to all equally. It hits and warms one point of the earth just as any other. But who profits from this? Those who work. Which land produces fruit? That in which seeds have been sowed. Any other land, in spite of the light of the sun, remains infertile. Therefore, distinctions do not exist in my will. By itself, it runs, it diffuses, and wants to give itself to all. Whoever wants, can take of it. I remained afflicted on hearing this, and Jesus added, "Ah! You would like to act like the sun, if it wanted to concentrate its light and its heat in one point more strongly, to be able to warm it and illuminate it so much as to convert that point into the sun itself, while it continues its regular course over all other things." And I, yes, it's exactly this. It is the weight of gratitude that pushes me to this. Jesus smiled in hearing me, and he continued, "If this is the case, then go ahead and do it. But you must know that since my will dominates everything, is everywhere, sustains everyone, is known in heaven, on earth and even by demons, there is no one who can oppose it. In the same way, the soul who does my will must dominate everything, be everywhere, sustain everything, and I want her to be known by all. And I, my love, I am known by no one. And he, how is it, you are known by no one? All angels and saints know you, one by one, and they anxiously await your operating in my will, like a divine note, and the most harmonious one, which flows over everything they have done in life, to give them greater splendor and contentment. All purging souls know you, as they feel over themselves the continuous refreshment that the working in my will brings. The demons know you from the power of my will which they feel in you. And if the earth does not know you for now, it will know you later on. It happens to one who does my will, and I act with her, just as I did with my celestial Mama. I constituted her queen of all, and I commanded all to recognize her and honor her as their queen, and I commanded her to crush with her foot the head of the infernal dragon. So I do with those who live in my will. Everything is under their dominion, and there is no good which does not come from them. March 13, 1922. The great good that hearing the truths brings. As I was in my usual state, I found myself in the midst of a flowery valley in which I found my late confessor, who died on the 10th of the current month, her third confessor, Don Gennaro di Gennaro. According to his habit when he lived down here, he told me, "Tell me, what did Jesus say to you?" And he spoke to me in my interior, he did not tell me anything with words. And you know that I don't take into account the things which I hear in my interior. And I want to hear also what he told you in your interior. And as though forced, he told me, "My daughter, I carry you in my arms. My arms will serve you as a little boat to make you sail in the interminable sea of my will. Then, as you do your acts in my volition, you will form the sails, the mast, the anchor, which will serve not only as ornament to the little boat, but to make it move faster. The love I have for one who lives in my will is so great that I carry her in my arms without ever leaving her." And while he was saying this, I saw the arms of Jesus in a shape of a little boat, and myself in the middle of it. On hearing this, the confessor told me, "You must know that when Jesus speaks to you and manifests his truths to you, rays of light drop upon you. Back then, when you manifested them to me, not having his virtue, you manifested them drop by drop, and yet my soul remained all filled with those drops of light. That light gave me greater spur, more desire to hear more truths, to be able to receive more light, because the truths bring celestial fragrance and divine sensation, and this, by just hearing them. What will it be for those who practice them? This is why I desired so much to hear what Jesus told you, and I wanted to tell others. It was light and fragrance that I felt, and I wanted others to share in them. If you knew the great good that my soul has received in hearing the truths which Jesus was saying to you, how it still drips with light, and emanates celestial fragrance, which not only gives me refreshment, but serves as light to me and to those who are near me. And as you do your acts in the divine volition, I take special part in them, because I feel the seed of His most holy will which you were sowing in me. And let me see your soul, how does it drip with light? He opened himself on the side of the heart, and I saw his soul all dripping with light. Those drops were merging and separating, one flowing over the other. It was beautiful to look at. And have you seen? How beautiful it is to hear the truths. Those who do not hear them drip with such darkness as to be terrifying.